Patrick, what do you have to say about Repo Man?
I don't know if this will be disappointing to you or our listeners, but I feel like I don't have that much to say about Repo Man. I think it's a good movie. I have no idea what it's doing, what it's trying to do or say in the last half hour or so. But I think it's a good movie. It's consistently pretty funny. For me, there were never like big laugh out loud moments, but there were numerous scenes and moments that I appreciated. I like the grounded nature of Otto and the Repo Man stuff. And I don't think the weird sci-fi stuff mixed with it that well, especially given the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have that much more to say about it than that. So, Jim, why don't you let me know what you think of it?
I have to agree with you. All of the sci-fi stuff, it just feels out of place, especially that ending. I'm not sure what the director was going for. I don't understand it. But I did think that the movie succeeded in being a comedy and being rather entertaining. It's not as funny as Animal House. It might not be as entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same type of comedy, obviously.
No, exactly. But it's certainly an interesting movie, and I understand why it has that cult classic status. You know,
Sure.
I can understand why people are really into this movie or why people like this movie. But it's just from out of left field. Like, it's just such an odd movie. I don't really have anything else to say about it, genuinely. It's just such a weird trip of a movie.
It's a kitchen sink movie, right? You throw everything out there. We've got a dark comedy. We've got a little punk rock characters, kind of an outcast character who finds his, lack of a better term, home with these other kind of outcast figures, but different outcast figures.
Mm-hmm.
Got a weird sci-fi plot about a crazy guy who lobotomized himself and a trunk that vaporizes people. Elements of social satire that was especially apparent with what little we got of the televangelist. And then there's this like weird chase, like government conspiracy angle. It all mixes together in an interesting way, but I don't think it mixes in a way that really makes me want to like call this one of my favorites or like make me want to see it again and again and again. And I know a lot of people love this movie, but I'm just not as, I view it positively, but not that positively, I guess.
It's a stew of a movie because you throw all these pieces or ingredients into it, but none of it actually mixes. I mean, like when you're eating a stew, you're still munching down on carrots and potatoes and the chunks of beef and stuff. It's not all together, right?
Okay.
You can pick out the separate pieces, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Where it almost feels like they had an idea for like 3 different movies. And then they just threw them all into this one bucket and shook it around and let it sit for a couple hours and then served it to you.
Well, and you keep saying they.
Alex
Cox.
Did
this is a writer-director, so this is a singular vision. So that's not literally what happened, but I understand what you mean is that's what it kind of feels like. I agree, but I think this is the work of a very creative person who was in film school, had a bunch of different ideas, and like Sinatra, he did it his way. He was just trying to fit them all into something, and it kind of works. It mostly works. It's just,
I'd agree with that.
It's not like my favorite movie, but in theory, like if this movie came out when it came out, I would have been like, oh, I would like to see something else this director did. But actually, you know what? He has a screenwriting credit on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I did not realize that. But it also says credit only, which probably means that he didn't actually have anything to do with the movie. They just threw his name on it for whatever reason. But I would guess, based on a lot of his other work, his interest was largely with the punk rock aspect of the movie. His follow-up film was Sid and Nancy, which is Gary Oldman. That's about Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols. Mm-hmm. He did Straight to Hell, which is a movie that I actually really want to see. It stars Joe Strummer of The Clash, which is one of my favorite bands. I mentioned earlier, I don't really like punk music generally. The Clash are the exception. I love The Clash. And I don't know if he made those movies because he was kind of pigeonholed as punk guy from Repo Man, or if I'm kind of assuming that was mainly his interest, but
I'm just reading some stuff on his Wikipedia page. Also has some controversies. In a March 2007 blog post, Cox referred to Vice President Dick Cheney as, quote-unquote, secret architect of the 9/11 atrocities. In the same article, Cox called the September 11 attacks, quote-unquote, Plan Pearl Harbor, referring to the false flag conspiracy theory surrounding the attack on Pearl Harbor.
That means that he would get along great with Emilio Estevez's brother, Charlie Sheen, famously, because Charlie Sheen starred in a movie that I think was called, like, World Trade, or, like, maybe it's just 9/11. It had a really generic name. It was, like, a movie about 9/11, and I had never heard of this, but, like, when that movie was coming out, there was controversy because apparently Charlie Sheen had said that 9/11 was an inside job, and he had, like, these conspiracy theories about it or whatever. It's like, why are we casting that guy in this movie? I'm gonna look up that movie, because that, if I'm not mistaken, that had, like, the funniest poster I've ever seen, because it looked like, you know, a lot of those, like, modern, you know, recent Bruce Willis movies.
Oh, no.
Posters just that's what it looked like. It looked like a fake movie.
By the way, well, you know what else looks like a fake movie?
Repo
Chick. Repo Chick is the name of... Yeah, if you just look at the cover, it's like a woman in a short dress holding a pistol.
Yeah, 9/11, the last movie Charlie Sheen was in, came out in 2017, right before he went off the deep end, or maybe right around the time. Yeah, this looks like a fake movie. It's him, and is that Whoopi? It looks like Whoopi.
Wait, hold on. What's the movie
What
called?
Is this? Gina Gershon, Luis Guzman, Whoopi Goldberg, and Jacqueline Bisset? Yeah, this is a weird... I don't know why... I don't know who made this movie, but yeah, this is a weird-looking movie.
Oh, I'm looking at it. Oh, no.
Well, you know, it made $200,000 at the box office, so you know it was a hit. 200, that's fucking pathetic.